The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money, money, money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money, 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 money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grandy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Phil's Gang. This is your surrogate host, JR. I'm filling in for Mr. Grandy, who is having a well-deserved, relaxing break. So I'm also joined by some other people who are with me. They're team members here at Phil's Gang. We got Steve and Alex. They're joining me on the show. We're just filling in for Phil.
Thanks, JR.
Thank you, JR.
And no problem. And I want to start out with what we're hearing about the Federal Reserve. We've got these experts, and they're telling us about the Fed. Let's listen.
It is more important for the Fed to please Wall Street.
I think investors are desperately just looking for anywhere that they can make money.
I think there's enough of a foundation to move.
A ton of Fed speak that's going to be very volatile.
You can jump up and down screaming that the Fed has to raise rates.
They are responsible for financial stability.
And it's not clear what that will do if we actually derail bubbles, if they burst bubbles.
Can you believe that? That's unreal. I mean, the whole market is so controlled by the Fed that it's absolutely incredible. Once again, the central banks have gone so far off the deep end with the financial price manipulation, like Phil's been talking about. It's pretty much to be exactly what Donald Trump said when he was talking about the Fed. He was complaining about the interest rates.
She's keeping them artificially low to get Obama retired. Watch what's going to happen afterwards. It's a very serious problem. And I think it's very political. I think she's very political. And to a certain extent, I think she should be ashamed of herself.
Exactly. She should absolutely be ashamed of herself because that's not what the Fed's there to do. The Fed has been using this market, the stock market itself, and it's not just the Fed, it's everybody. It's if you turn on the television, if you listen to the president, everybody talks about the stock market as if it were actually the economy, like the actual economy. So what do you guys think of that? What do you think of that, Steve? It's exactly what's happening, and they shouldn't be as blatant about using it as a prop to say, hey, look, I did a great job.
Well, JR, I mean, Phil's been saying this all along that they weren't going to raise the rates, and I tend to agree with what Phil says, and that's what makes joining Phil's gang so great is that our boss knows what he's talking about. And, if you're out there listening, don't be afraid to call in. And the office line here, 877-600-GANG or 4264. And, ask questions. We'll be happy to help you get on the right track with your portfolio. And, as far as Yellen, I mean, we've always known she was going to not raise the rates.
Right. Yeah, because that's what they did the same exact thing all year prior to now. I remember last year about the same time they were going to raise rates, and they would say they're going to raise rate. They'd send out all their little Fed guys out and say they're going to raise rates and that it's a good time to raise rates and so on and so forth. But Trump's completely correct. After all, the real crushing wages with 2% inflation, do these people really think that nobody goes shopping anymore in this country? Now, when you're talking about somebody like Yellen, or you're talking about a Ben Bernanke, or those guys, they don't go shopping. They have maids go and get their stuff. They walk out of their little house and they get into their limo and then they go into their little ivory tower. They don't know what hamburger meat costs or hot dogs or any of that stuff. So they're looking at 2% inflation. That's 2.5 household income raising at, and that's that's a lie. There's no way that there's just 2% inflation. I remember I moved here about a better part of a decade ago. When I moved here, I could get like a hamburger at the drive-thru about $5, right? Now it's $10 for that exact same hamburger, same French fries, same drink, $10. That's 100% inflation on a fast food hamburger in about 10 years.
Makes you want to skip lunch, that's for sure.
Exactly, or get another job just so I can afford to eat lunch. But more on this Fed here. I mean, we got Trump talking about the interest rates, and he's absolutely right. They should never have left the rates at zero for better part of a decade. And then we got Yellen talking about Trump.
Chair Yellen, Donald Trump, the Republican presidential nominee, has charged that the Fed is keeping interest rates artificially low to support the Obama administration. I'd like to hear what you have to say to that charge.
And I can say emphatically that partisan politics plays no role in our decisions about the appropriate stance. We do not discuss politics at our meetings, and we do not take politics into account in our decisions.
Whoa, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. The person who the president appoints, Janet Yellen, right? They physically say, okay, Janet Yellen, you're going to be the Fed chair. Have a nice day. Goodbye. And that's how she got her job. So you're telling me that the president who appoints you, you don't have any kind of nothing to do with him, right? You're going to turn your back on the president, and we're just going to be honest to goodness people. You know, we're really going to tell everybody the truth, which, you know, obviously isn't the truth because, A, we've got zero interest rates. People are literally, there's no reason to actually even have a savings account anymore because you're not going to get anything from it anyway. You get taxed on it. You're going to get inflation because the Fed is going to be, quote, they're basically just going to keep printing money, and if you have money sitting in the bank anyway, you're just going to get wiped out through inflation. And that is definitely a lie.
Lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie.
They know exactly who they work for, and they know exactly what they're doing. Even, I mean, don't they, Steve? I mean, am I just, like, going off half-cocked on this, or what?
Oh, no, JR. I mean, this is, they know exactly what they're doing, and personally, you know, it appalls me, and I really, it kind of leaves me speechless, really. What do you think about it, Alex?
To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the stock market. I don't know a whole lot about the Fed, but I do know how it affects me and my family. I do know that my wife is an elementary school teacher. I have a son going to college, and as I said, it directly affects everybody, and then we feel it. You would think me being a website developer, my wife being an elementary school teacher, making a modest living, that combined we would be doing good. And I mean, we're barely making ends meet, and standards, they're just not up to par. And for Yellen to say that they're not mixed up in politics, we know that's a blatant lie.
How could you be appointed by the president yet not be mixed up in politics? It just doesn't make any sense at all. But that's not all.
Low interest rates harm savers. It's absolutely true. And this is a burden on people who are trying to survive on the income.
That's right. She even knows that these low interest rates are hurting our savers. She knows it. She admits it. But what does she do? She does nothing. She does nothing because she can do nothing. There's nothing for her to do. We'll be right back after these messages. This is JR and Steve and Alex. We're filling in for Phil Grandy, who's on a vacation for right now.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Do you invest in a 401k or an IRA? Did you know you could lose 30, 40, even 50% of your investments when the market crashes? It's time you take control of your investments. For over 15 years, Phil'sGang.com's Phil Grandy has been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members, making profits when the market is up or down. Phil'sGang.com posts daily market updates, has a live investing class, and all material is archived. Sounds too good to be true? Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
For more information, simply go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You hear me talk about 401ks every day on my radio show. Why? Because it's such a disservice. 89 million Americans have a 401k. There's 638,000 plans. And the father of the 401k, Ted Brenner, even admitted they're a scam. He doesn't endorse them anymore because of the ridiculous fees. You got to get away from those fees. Remember, every 1% fee, they take 30% of your retirement money. The average fund is 2.5%. 60% of the money is going to be gone when you're ready to retire. You don't need to do that. There's an alternative. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Seek out the alternative. Give yourself a break. philsgang.com. Sign up today.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, there's nothing worse than you're investing in a stock and during the day something happens and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to call. Or you call somebody and they just give you a bunch of BS. Not here at Phil's Gang. We value every gang member. During the day, you got a question about your stock, you contact us. We have the best service in the world. philsgang.com. You're not alone. You're a gang member.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
Do you invest in a 401k or an IRA? Did you know you could lose 30, 40, even 50% of your investments when the market crashes? It's time you take control of your investments. For over 15 years, Phil'sGang.com's Phil Grandy has been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members, making profits when the market is up or down. Phil'sGang.com posts daily market updates, has a live investing class, and all material is archived. Sounds too good to be true? Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
For more information, simply go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
philsgang.com.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, most people get involved with a 401k because of the employer match. They really believe that there's free money. There's no free money. It's a scam. Here's how it works. You ever notice that you can't get the money all at once? Why not? Why don't they just give you the match all at once? Why over 6 years? Because they know only 12% of the people who work for a company stay for 6 years or more. Only 12% are there for 6 years. That's why they plugged it to 6 years. They know you're not going to stay. So it's not for your benefit. It's for the benefit of the company. It's a scam. There's an alternative, though. Phil's Gang. Join my gang. philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264. Welcome back. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. This is JR. We're just filling in for Mr. Grandy, who is on vacation. I'm trying my best to fill those rather large shoes of his, and we're going to start out with this right now.
My assessment would be, based on this evidence, that the economy has a little more room to run than might have been previously thought. That's good news.
Huh? So what? Wait a minute, hold on. So the economy is a track star, and it's got a little bit more room to run. Is that what you're saying? I mean, what does that mean? Room to run.
Right? Then why not raise rates?
Yeah, exactly. If it's so good and there's so much room to run, how come we're not raising rates? How come we're just sitting there, and she says, oh, she's going to be accommodative. And that's code word for, hey, CEOs, get some free money over here. Hey, banks, go ahead and just buy stocks. Oh, and you can go ahead and buy your own stocks back, so at least you'll have positive earnings that you can go and cash in and catch that extra $20 million that you've been wanting for that nice new, giant boat. I mean, come on. Room to run? This is our Fed chair. Unbelievable. Steve, what are your thoughts on the market exactly, as you are the chart expert today?
Oh, sure. Put me out there. Let me see here. My thoughts on the market today is I don't really have thoughts on the market. To be honest with you, I never look at the market to make my decisions. I mean, sure, some people, they look at the market and it helps them. What I do is I look at my charts. And Phil's charts, MaxVest 1 or MaxVest 2 or MV1, MV2, as we commonly refer them as, they really make my decision. I mean, how easy is it to look at a chart and see a red candlestick and know that I shouldn't buy that stock? Or if it's green, that I should buy the stock? I mean, it's really that easy, and it's as simple as, what do you do when you pull up to a red light?
You stop.
You stop, that's correct. And if it's green, you go, and it's just that easy. I know that, sometimes looking at charts, it can be very intimidating. I know, because I didn't do this my whole life. I actually was in the restaurant industry for 22 years, and when I first started working for Phil, it was because the housing market was, collapsed in, 2008, and it was hard to get a job. The market wanted to pay me about a quarter of what I was used to making. So basically, I got into Phil's gang and started looking at these charts, and at first they were scary, but I remember the first time I had a break to really take a look and listen to what Phil was saying, I actually went to JR and I said, JR, can this be this easy?
It can, actually. The MV2, particularly, is probably the easiest possible chart to use. It is just so easy to trade with that thing. It's unbelievable. And much like your story, I, of course, was not always in the stock market or into stocks either. I was an IT manager for many years, and I came here and started working for Phil, and I didn't know the very first thing about charts, but Phil is an amazingly good teacher, and we are all really good team here and help our members learn how to trade. And it's kind of hard to explain with not being there in class. It's hard to explain that you're really, like, people still think, oh, well, you're risking money, you're going to take so much risk by trading it on this type of chart, that type of chart. And the deal is this: it's not so much risk, it's more of, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to get in that big of a trouble. It's sort of like saying, hey, if you drive that car, you're going to run out of gas. Well, no, because I have a gas gauge. Just like on a chart, you know when the stock is going to go up or go down because you're able to gauge with the chart, just like you would your gas gauge in your car, how the money is flowing. Is it flowing in? Is it flowing out? And that's what we do here. We teach that on our regular charts. We also teach it on our MV2 chart, which is the easiest one because that one's color-coded and it pretty much does everything for you except push buy.
And that's a great analogy, JR. I mean, would you get into your car and try and drive it down the road with a blindfold on?
I
mean,
think
would
that'd
you
be a bad
really
idea.
do that?
No.
Of course not.
I would.
You do not trade without a chart. That's just insane.
What are you, nuts?
Well, now you got this right here.
To find out what's going on with Broadcom. I bought it at 179, and then 172, then 169. Which way is it going?
Don't sweat the program. That stock has got long-term 200 written all over it. That's Hawk Tan. He's the manager. I like it.
All right, so I'm looking at this on the MV2 chart, and Kramer just told you to buy it, and guess what? Kramer doesn't look at charts. So if you buy this particular stock, you would be buying something that the money is coming out of.
And I have to agree with you there too, JR. One thing about Jim Cramer is he's getting paid by this corporate company to make these decisions. When every time he's made a decision, I will always go reference my chart to see if he's correct. Anytime he says buy, I'm like, no freaking way, because that is a sell all day long on my chart.
Definitely. You can clearly see, and we teach you here to see the money coming out. It's pretty simple. I mean, it looks daunting to begin with. I mean, people look at charts and they get kind of freaked out by it. There's a lot of stuff on there. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's just like anything else. It takes time to learn, but once you learn how to read charts, like literally read them, you can clearly tell how the money's flowing and the money's either coming in and going out, and you ride that wave. You buy when Goldman Sachs is buying, and when J.P. Morgan Chase is buying, and when Vanguard's buying, and you ride that wave up, the wave of money, sort of like money surfing, and that's what we teach here at Phil's Gang, and we'll be right back after these messages. This is Phil's Gang, and JR is filling in for Phil Grandy. We will be right back, and Steve and Alex.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. Everybody says, I hear it everywhere, no matter where I go, I'm not going to get into the stock market because it's rigged. And I think, what are you, nuts? That's exactly why I want to get into the market. Here, listen to this.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
But we front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally. So are you telling me you don't want to get into a market where they front-loaded an enormous rally, where they fixed it to go up? You don't want to get in? What are you, nuts? Of course you want to get in. See, your fear is, once you get in, you're fearful you're not going to get out in time. Well, that fear is gone. That's why I designed the Max Vesta 1000, the color-coded technology. It'll get you out before it crashes. Believe me. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Isn't it time you reduce your fear of investing? Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
Do you invest in a 401k or an IRA? Did you know you could lose 30, 40, even 50% of your investments when the market crashes? It's time you take control of your investments. For over 15 years, philsgang.com's Phil Grandy has been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members, making profits when the market is up or down. philsgang.com posts daily market updates, has a live investing class, and all material is archived. Sounds too good to be true? Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
For more information, simply go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. Everybody says, I hear it everywhere, no matter where I go, I'm not going to get into the stock market because it's rigged. And I think, what are you, nuts? That's exactly why I want to get into the market. Here, listen to this.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
But we front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally. So are you telling me you don't want to get into a market where they front-loaded an enormous rally, where they fixed it to go up? You don't want to get in? What are you, nuts? Of course you want to get in. See, your fear is, once you get in, you're fearful you're not going to get out in time. Well, that fear is gone. That's why I designed the Max Vesta 1000, the color code technology. It'll get you out before it crashes. Believe me. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Isn't it time you reduce your fear of investing? Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, people make it too complicated. Wall Street tells you the market cap and the trailing PE and the forward PE and price to sales to confuse you. All you need to know is, does the stock have volume? What's that mean? Energy. What does that mean? If you have people buying a stock, enough of the stock's being bought, it influences the prices to go up. Join my gang, philsgang.com. We're using charting, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, people make it too complicated. Wall Street tells you the market cap and the trailing PE and the forward PE and price to sales to confuse you. All you need to know is, does the stock have volume? What's that mean? Energy. What does that mean? If you have people buying a stock, enough of the stock's being bought, it influences the prices to go up. Join my gang, philsgang.com. We're using charting, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264. You're listening to the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grandy. Be sure to check out the all-new Phil's Gang website at philsgang.com.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Once again, this is JR filling in for Phil Grandy, who's having some time off. He's doing well, and I'm sure he's having a great time. Steve, we have a special going on, do we not, with the Phil's Gang member? If you join, you get the MV2 for free for a month. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, JR. This one thing that Phil has been talking about for a couple of months now, and we feel that it's been very successful. And what we really want to do is get you to sign up to join the gang, and by doing so, instead of charging you for the charts the first month, we're going to give you the MV2 for free for that first month. So all you have to do is go to philsgang.com, click Join the Gang at the top, and then just let us know that you've joined by calling us at 877-600-GANG, and we'll verify and add the software to your account for you for free for the first month. Again, you are joining the gang, and that will cost you $39.95 the first month and every month after. And then the charts, which are normally $24.95 for the MV2, you'll get for free for the first month.
Well, that's a great deal right there. I can tell you that. Being here for so long, I've seen the evolution that's happened here at Phil's Gang. When I first came here, we didn't have half the technology that we have now, and we didn't have the ability to teach the way that we do now. And it is very nice to be able to see and get emails from members who enjoy the teaching and tell me that they've contributed money to St. Jude's.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of people don't realize, JR, is that you used to actually hand draw the charts for Phil back in the day. And I know that this software has made your life a lot easier.
Yes.
And it certainly made a lot of our members, Phil and myself, it's boosted my portfolio incredibly. I would never be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my MV2 software.
And that can be you out there listening. That could be anyone. That could be. It literally is so simple to read this chart. There's only two colors, some candlesticks, and a stochastic, and that's it. So, a couple lines and some candlesticks that change colors, and that's all you got.
And not to mention, for people that already feel they have a grasp on the market, what about your children? What about the people that are just getting out of high school or college and don't have a clue as to how to invest their money?
Or maybe they don't know what they're going to do for a career. They could be a hedge fund manager if they learn how to read charts.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't do it with any other charting system than MaxVestor 1000 or the MV1 and MV2, and with the teaching of Phil and JR and everybody else here at Phil's Gang, you just can't go wrong.
No, it's well worth $39.95, and then of course you're going to get the MV2 for free for a month. So go ahead and go to the website, join up, and then give us a call. Now that's 877-600-4264. Once again, that number is 877-600-4264. The U.S. economy completely rigged. One financial expert stated, the Clinton campaign should absolutely breathe a sigh of relief. The market was just not The market was just not positioned at all for a rate increase. There would have been a total chaos. Yeah, well, that's obvious. We got so much debt out there. Our government is loaded to the hilt with debt. People have debt. I mean, there's more debt in this country than ever. I mean, literally, we've been giving away free credit cards. People can go out and get free cars that they can spend, 10 years paying on. They don't have good jobs. They don't have good incomes. They have to pay higher rents everywhere they go. It's really bad out there. And Clinton is very lucky that she didn't actually raise those rates, because she wouldn't have that prop to point to and say, hey, look at how great Obama did. Look at the stock market, as if that means anything. We all know the stock market has nothing to do with our economy. It has to do with just basically money laundering at this point. I mean, we got people who ladder stocks all day, like Kramer, saying to buy, what was it, AVGO a second ago? That was not a buy, that was a short. You've got Janet Yellen, who knows that the zero interest rates hurt people. Literally knows it. I just played the cut. Here, I'll play it again.
Low interest rates harm savers. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you the truth. In 2008, when this market when we actually started to bail out those banks, the very, very first thing that I did was I went to the bank and I closed my savings account. And I converted all that over into silver because I knew what was going to happen. When I had my savings account, I had 6% annually I would get back for what I had in my savings. As soon as I closed it, they dropped the rates to 0.06. That's how much you'll get for putting your money in the bank. Basically nothing.
And well, no, you pay them now.
That's in Europe.
They don't pay you, yeah.
That's true, because they're going to get you with the fees. Unless you have like $50,000 in the bank, they're going to nail you for like $15 a month or some crazy stuff like that. It's not. This economy is a parasitic economy, literally. So we have the big, huge CEOs getting wealthy while they're not putting any kind of money or effort back into their own corporations, because why should they? They're paid on how much they can ladder their own stocks up. And when Janet Yellen has that window open, giving away that free money, they can do it infinitum. And it won't help us. It won't help Main Street. We need to actually have good jobs. And every day, actually not every day, but every time I go shopping, I literally go to a Publix down the street. It's the only thing in the whole strip mall. Like, there are 50 empty stores and just one Publix. And these people that come on television really think that we're stupid enough to believe that everything's fine. What do you think, Alex?
Well, pardon me. Like I said before, being blue collar, okay, being from Detroit, my mother is finally retired. She got to move down here, thank God. And my father's been retired. The unfortunate part is that they're hurting. There's not much to retire off of, and every day I thank God I get up and I get to go to work. And I have neighbors, a couple of my neighbors, they're out of work. Across the street, I know they're having a real rough time right now. But, it's just got to be brought to our attention, and we have to do something about it. And here's the question. I think everybody's asking themselves, what can we do?
If you really want me to answer that?
Well, of course.
All right. Well, in my opinion, what should be done, and now this is in a perfect world, okay? So, first of all, let's dream now. We're dreaming. We're in this perfect world where JR is ultimate commander of all. The very first thing I would do is close the Federal Reserve and print our own currency. That's right. Actually have the Treasury, instead of printing money for the Federal Reserve on interest, that's right, every dollar in your pocket is loaned to our government. We have to pay it back. I would actually print our own currency like we should be doing anyway and bind it to gold. And then I would do one step further than that. I would say that all the Fed notes, all the Fed, everything completely stops in this country, and we go back to a sound currency where we actually have rhyme and reason, and we're not governed by 0% rates or rates going up or rates going down, and just basically they end up owning us. They will always end up owning us when they control us by the rates. We'll be right back after these messages. Phil's Gang. Give us a call, 877-600-4264.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Phil Grandy is a career businessman who's also been an entrepreneur all his life. He's used his business skills to take companies on the abyss of bankruptcy and bringing them back to profitability. Phil has been honored by Inc. magazine for the 500 fastest growing privately held companies and has been recognized with a prestigious Entrepreneur of the Year award. From the real estate to gas and oil industries to the stock market, Phil Grandy has mastered his line of business from start to finish. And with a passion and desire to make you a profitable investor, only Phil teaches you and guides you to make informed, unemotional investment decisions. And you'll gain the knowledge of what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. If you want to learn from the best and strengthen your ability to invest, then turn to Phil Grandy and philsgang.com. Simply call Phil's Gang at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. Are you ready to get serious about your financial future? Reduce your debt, pay off those student loans, and prepare for retirement. Taking control of your finances can be intimidating, but with philsgang.com, you will be educated and guided to make smart investment decisions in the stock market. If the market is up or down, philsgang.com is the only source where you'll learn how to trade stocks and how to invest in the stock market using professional-level skills and strategies. For more information, go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. Most people get involved with a 401k because of the employer match. They really believe that there's free money. There's no free money. It's a scam. Here's how it works. You ever notice that you can't get the money all at once? Why not? Why don't they just give you the match all at once? Why over 6 years? Because they know only 12% of the people who work for a company stay for 6 years or more. Only 12% are there for 6 years. That's why they plugged it to 6 years. They know you're not going to stay. So it's not for your benefit. It's for the benefit of the company. It's a scam. There's an alternative, though. Phil's Gang. Join my gang. philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You hear me talk about 401ks every day on my radio show. Why? Because it's such a disservice. 89 million Americans have a 401k. There's 638,000 plans. And the father of the 401k, Ted Brenner, even admitted they're a scam. He doesn't endorse them anymore because of the ridiculous fees. You got to get away from those fees. Remember, every 1% fee, they take 30% of your retirement money. The average fund is 2.5%. 60% of the money is going to be gone when you're ready to retire. You don't need to do that. There's an alternative. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Seek out the alternative. Give yourself a break. philsgang.com. Sign up today.
Find out more at philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264, 877-600-4264. Welcome back. This segment of the Phil's Gang Show is brought to you by the MV Stock Charts. For more information, go to philsgang.com.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. This is your surrogate host, JR. I'm filling in for Phil Grandy, who's having some time off.
And this is Steve, and I just wanted to tell you, I think Alex has a pretty funny story that he was reading out of California. Tell us what you got, Alex.
Yeah. I don't even know if this is real or if this is a joke. It's California Governor Jerry Brown signs bill to regulate cow flatulence. I'm not sure I understand this.
Yeah, it's because of the CO2 emissions, right?
Methane, CO2, I would gather.
So
California is always big on this stuff, aren't they?
Oh my God, yes, definitely California. Now, here's the thing that I always get kind of confused about. All right, so we all know that supposedly, all right, there's global warming and so on and so forth. I got a question for you. So we breathe in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide, isn't that right?
That is correct.
So, okay. Now, don't trees breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen?
I tell you what, trees are more important, I think, than cows, for sure.
So, all right, rather than regulating cow flagellance, which, funny as it may be, why don't we just... Why don't we just plant more trees around the cows, for God's sakes?
Well, listen, I think this first sentence, it just kind of sums it up. In yet another attack on California businesses, yesterday Governor Jerry Brown signed into law a bill that requires the state to cut methane emissions from dairy cows and other animals by 40% by 2030.
Wow!
My thing is, okay, how many cows are in California versus how many people are in California?
Way more people in California than cows, I'll give you that.
I would think the bill is yet another massive blow to the agricultural industry in the state of California that has already suffered from the governor's passage of a $15 minimum wage and a recent bill that makes California literally the only state in the entire country to provide overtime pay to seasonal agricultural workers after working 40 hours per week or 8 hours per day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's smart. That's one way to go broke. Go on that $15 an hour wage, though. I'd like to chime in my own 2 cents on that particular thing. A lot of people love to sit there and say, we really need to raise minimum wage because they're not a living wage. All right. First of all, if you're trying to live and you're starting out trying to live on minimum wage, that's not going to work. Second of all, minimum wage is not supposed to pay for your living. It's supposed to get your foot in the door somewhere.
Isn't that why they say minimum?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, not to mention, it's not the salary that's killing us, all right? They're missing the entire point. What I just said before in the last segment, we should go back to printing our own money, bind it to gold, get rid of the Federal Reserve, and have actual currency again. Remember, before 1913, we actually had a dollar that was worth, get this, 90% more than it is now. Literally, that dollar in your pocket was worth 90% more than it is now. You could go into any bank and say, here, I'd like an ounce of silver, please. Hand them $1. That's right, $1. And they would give you an ounce of silver for that $1. Now, if you wanted to get that same ounce of silver, it'd take you 25 Federal Reserve notes to get that 1 ounce of silver. So if they think that $15 a wage is going to actually fix anything, it's not going to fix anything. First of all, they're probably going to get replaced by robots or something.
I was just going to say that, JR. I mean, a good example of that is like Walmart. Everybody that was there, working as a cashier complained about their salary, and look what happens now. Now, when you go over there, it's self-checkout lanes now.
Yeah.
You don't actually have somebody there that can help you, and if you do go to the one person that is there running a register, you get charged a fee.
Really?
So
I haven't.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I haven't actually went in. I actually, I don't
Can
mind.
you imagine?
I don't mind doing the self-checkout, personally. But no, I never went in. And they actually charge you extra for talking to a human?
Well, yeah, and they probably have now a tip jar out, don't they?
Well, here's the thing. For a person who's, single or doesn't have to worry about doing, a big shopping load.
That's true, yeah.
It's not a big deal. But when you have a family and you have to fill up a shopping cart or 2 or 3 in some people's cases, imagine having to do that by yourself.
That's a lot of work, yeah.
That's a lot of work, and just because, somebody said, well, I don't think you're paying me enough money, well, guess what? Now you're not getting paid at all.
Good luck.
Because now, because now you're jobless, or you're looking for a better job, and good luck with that.
There's always a flip side to the coin, too. I know that Walmart workers, they were complaining they don't make enough money, so what happens is they get their paycheck from Walmart, okay? Walmart has such low prices, they grab a shopping cart, and they give their paycheck right back to Walmart.
Yep.
So
Indeed.
Now, $15 an hour minimum wage, I don't believe that's the point here. The point is all the small businesses it affects. So at $15 an hour at minimum wage, you can't afford to pay your employees. Now, can you?
No, you wouldn't even have a business. Your number one expense.
Absolutely correct, Alex.
So you're knocking out the small businesses, and what stimulates the economy is small businesses.
That's correct. They create 85% of our jobs. 85% of our jobs come from small businesses. And that's the one thing that we're lacking in this country. For the first time in the history of this country, more small businesses are closing their doors than actually opening them for the very first time. So, hey, there's another feather in Obama's cap. He was really good at destroying small businesses and putting forward his notion of utopianism society.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, my goodness, it's just so unbelievable.
Well, I'm just going to chime in here real quick, and I just wanted to say, Phil, I hope you're having a great vacation, you and Marta both, and to the general, audience out there, I just want to say, don't forget why Phil's Gang is what Phil's Gang is. I mean, this company was built to raise money for kids that needed the help. Kids that have cancer and their families cannot provide the correct medical for them because they're broke. That's what St. Jude does, and we'll do whatever we can to help, that cause. And by joining the gang, learning how to trade, all we've ever asked was that you donate a small portion of your profits to St. Jude or any organization out there that would help children in need.
And we do quite well with that. We think about 2 or 3 years ago had the CEO of St. Jude on our show, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But
Marlo Thomas.
Marlo Thomas, that's right. She was on, and I constantly get emails from our subscribers that, they're happy they made, $5,000 this month extra, then they sent some money to St. Jude, and it makes everybody here feel very good that we're actually doing something with St. Jude and helping out these kids that really need help. I mean,
yes, and not only does it make us feel good because we're helping the cause, imagine how you as an individual will make you feel when you've done the same.
And it's very simple. All you're going to have to do is go to our website, philsgang.com. It's $39.95. That's a steal. Believe me, if you look around, you're not going to learn how to read charts anywhere else for $39.95. I'll tell you that for sure. You certainly aren't going to get the help that you need like you'll get from us here. All right, so going into the end here, I cannot believe that they want to regulate cow flagellants.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
You'd think that we would have smarter people.
Yeah,
You really would. And why don't they just plant more trees? Why is this even a thing? I mean, we need carbon dioxide for the plants on this planet, don't we?
I know what Phil would say. Are you nuts?
What are you, nuts?
For sure. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank Steve and Alex.
Thanks for having me, JR.
Thank you, sir.
Phones are open. Give us a call, 877-600-4264. Get your MV2 free for 30 days. And we'll see you on the charts.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grandy, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.